All right, Panther Lair, we are back talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' victory over the Radford Highlanders in their season opener this past Monday. Now, I wrapped up my videos on Cam Corran, something I liked, something to monitor going forward. Now shifting my attention to Damian Dunn. Honestly, thought he was the most polished new face on Pitt's roster. You would expect that from a player entering their sixth season of collegiate basketball and someone who had just got done playing for the Houston Cougars, one of the best teams in all of college basketball last season. So I really think that this guy can defend. Wanted to isolate a possession here early in the second half to break down. Now, one of the things you probably noticed throughout the game is Dunn was the guy calling out the switches. He was the guy communicating. Here you're going to see he's going to be working with Jalen Lowe in that regard. Radford's going to try to set up for one of their double staggered off-ball screens. It's something they ran pretty consistently throughout the game. I think Dunn recognizes that, just says, hey, I want Jalen here to stay with his man, calls that out. They pretty much break this up. Really good body positioning here from Dunn, because if he takes this route, maybe he recommunicates, I'm going to pick this up, and then you can then take on my defender or my man assignment here, Jalen, and you're already between him and the basket. So really good body positioning, good communication. He ends up staying with his man. Now, as this play out, what I really like is just the space that he understands he has to work with here. So he's not just glued to his assignment, right? He's here in this kind of high tagging situation. He's here, look at him play in gap here. I mean, this is able to help on a potential drive, but it's also close enough that the minute this guy catches a pass, he's able to step up and defend. Constantly low, constantly in a stance. His stunt and recovery position, really good. Look, the ball gets kicked out here. Already in stance, already picked him up. Not really a threat to shoot from this deep. Just really understands the amount of spacing he can give his man while also being able to help. This shrinking of the court is something that he can do defensively off the ball, which is a really, really big boon for Pitt. I think we're going to see the benefits of that all year. Here again, he sees the action, constantly knows where the ball is. I like that he stays in the paint here, recognizes the drive, and just allows his man to drift into the corner, but stays in a position where he can help on this drive. Drive happens, gets turned away. Again, stays in a help position, stays a beat off of his man. He's ready to be in to help at the lane here. Now he's the low man if this turns into a pick and roll action. And I love how he just constantly knows where the ball is. He's ultimately going to chip his man here too, get a body him on the rebound. Just a really good defensive possession here for Pitt in general, but also for Dunn. So moving into something he does well on offense, and I called this out when I did what I thought he could bring to the table articles in the beginning of the summer, I believe, when Pitt was getting some of these guys out of the transfer portal. And I thought that his post-up ability was something that I saw immediately on tape. It's something that with Hinson's departure, this was something that he could step in and occupy. I've said that a few times, so never mind taking a victory lap when something from tape to fruition actually happens. This is something I think you're going to see from him all season long. So pretty important that he's efficient here, making the most of these opportunities. Pitt only ran this a few times with him kind of halfway through the second half. I think they determined, yes, they're absolutely going to win the game here. So let's go with a couple other things, see what we got. So this is Dunn just being a older player, just being able to bully people here, and draws a lot of and ones. Now, he did this a lot in Houston too, drew a lot of and ones on some of these post-up jumpers. So I think that's going to continue as well. Now, this is going to move into my let's monitor it going forward. He really didn't do anything on tape that I'm like, that's something we really got to take a pause and think about. There were some early fouls. I don't think that's something we have to monitor going forward. That's probably not going to be the case throughout the non-conference portion of the schedule, not in the immediate. But I do think him picking his shots is something to monitor. Now, he didn't take that many shots in this game, and he certainly didn't miss a lot of shots. But these post-ups, sometimes you could be feast or famine. It's something we experienced with Blake Hinson, something we didn't experience as much with Jamarius Burton. So it's going to be interesting to see where Pitt finds that balance. Now, he did attempt one more post-up pretty much on the very next possession. And he grinds this one-on-one. Ultimately, this ends up being kind of a wild shot, hits the side of the backboard. Now, I expect Dunn to probably make more of these than he misses. It's probably going to be around 50%, 52%. So, I mean, 50% would be a coin flip, but maybe a little bit efficient here. But how many of these he takes is a big part of it, because there's not that much off-ball cutting on the team. There's not that much individual creation in terms of creating for teammates outside of Jalen Lowe. I think Dunn is the next guy in line unless Brandon Cummings gets there sooner than later. So it's important that these possessions don't end up being black hole possessions for Pitt. I don't think this will be a problem. I don't think this is something that we need to monitor, but if there's one thing I could say coming away from this is how many post-ups are they going to run for Dunn over the course of the game?